Regina Mayor Michael Fougere is preparing to head into a meeting tomorrow with government officials to talk about what's next. You had the emergency city council meeting last night to discuss this budget, reopen it. What do you think is going to happen in the meeting with provincial officials tomorrow?
Well, I'm not sure. We asked for this meeting late last week and there was no response, although Friday afternoon there was a response, yes, we'll meet. So a lot has happened between the time we requested the meeting and then the meeting will take place. There's been a voice by many municipalities, Saskatoon, Regina, Yorkton. The head of SUMA is now speaking about this, and there's a united voice by municipalities that there is a problem that needs to be fixed.
How would you like to see it be fixed?
Well, rescind the decision, change the decision. We believe that this is causing a lot of problems, certainly for Regina City Council, $11 million hole in our budget we have to fix. Saskatoon, the same amount. Yorkton has a large problem as well. Small towns and villages all feel this pain. $38 million does not seem like a lot of money, but when you've finished your budget, you've passed it and you're ready to go, you got to go back and reopen it. It's a problem for everyone. So we hope they're listening. I'm sure they are listening, and we hope they'll do the right thing and simply just rescind that decision and let's move on.
It feels like you're stepping into a negotiation now, saying you've made this decision, we'd prefer this. Sometimes negotiations mean meeting in the middle. Is there something that perhaps isn't rescinding the entire budget cut, but would be something that you would find agreeable in the middle?
Well, this would be something we want to have before the announcement took place. Now, we talked about revenue sharing well before the budget came out, and we made the pitch that we should leave it the way it is, and frankly, we must admit, and I'm very proud of that program, the province has been very generous to municipalities for revenue sharing. So we would have thought that this kind of a change on grants in lieu, they would have said, we're thinking of this, let's talk about how we can make this work before the budget came out. So now that the budget's out and we have to make changes, yeah, we'll have to compromise perhaps, and I'm prepared to do that, but I want a discussion, I want to see discussion, and I think everyone wants to have a meeting of minds to come together and find a way to resolve this.
We've seen the province be pretty emphatic that cities should just dip into those reserve funds, and that's why that money's there. What's your response to that?
Well, frankly, that commentary is disappointing. It shows a couple things. It shows that perhaps there's not a real understanding of the purpose of reserves, because they're different than what the province has, for sure. We don't have a lot of money sitting around to be spent. And it's not up to the province to tell us how to spend our money. They can take care of their shop, we'll take care of our shop and do what we need to do. But we have emergencies that take place. We have funds dedicated to a host of services that we enjoy each and every day. And frankly, we need resources when there's an infrastructure project that comes along. Because again, we don't want to go to taxpayers every day to say we have a new bridge to put in, or a new bypass to put in, or a new street to be put in. We have to have reserves to be flexible and move forward on this one. It's good financial planning for taxpayers to know that the money is there to be used. But those monies are used for a lot of different things, and it is not to fill the gap of province moving away from a program and commitment.
Saskatoon City Councilor Randy Donauer said it's just one level of government passing the tax burden onto another because they can. Is that what it feels like to you?
Well, I mean, that's a fair interpretation. We have one taxpayer. And frankly, if you pull those resources from one and put the obligation in the other, it's the same pocket you're taking money out of. So frankly, it is. And we know and understand the province has a financial problem. We understand that completely. We've heard that for months, and we've been conditioned to hear that. And for the most part, we can live with many things that they're talking about. They're hard to swallow, but we can understand that. But when you talk about issues that are so fundamental and don't consult and say, just use reserves, we need a higher level discussion, a more respectful conversation of what this means for everyone.
If the province says no, then what happens next for you as a city?
Well, you know, I'm always very hopeful of conversation. I really am, and I do believe in the positive things that can happen through discussion, and I'm hopeful of that, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. I really want to have a positive discussion. I understand that you have to save face for the province and for us as well, and let's have the conversation and see where it goes. But if they do nothing, and that this is hypothetical, then not much we can do about that. We have to take care of our own business, which is to go back and look at our budget once again, and look at program review, looking at a host of different elements to make up that $11 million, because it's not just 1 year, it's way into the future. And that's the other argument for why reserves are not the source of funding, because we have a finite amount of money in those reserves and they're gone in a couple of years, and then we're in the same circumstance the province is in. No reserves, what are we going to do now? Raise taxes.
Can't go into deficit.
We are not allowed to go in deficit every year by law, so we balance our books every year.
Thanks for your time today, Michael.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.